Hey everyone, thanks for coming to the Owner Meetup this year. For those that don't know me, I'm the founder of Owner. What I'm going to do today is, rather than going straight to the roadmap, I'm going to give you a bit of a history on Owner. I won't go through the whole details of how we started and so forth, but I'll give you a bit of a timeline of when we started, where we were a couple of years ago, where we are today, and obviously where we're heading, beyond 2025. So let's kick things off. So what we'll cover today, I mentioned just then, past, present and future. We'll look at safety and digital privacy as well. Obviously that's a big topic that's come to the fore lately, and we've kind of bumped it up on our roadmap as well. So we're quite flexible. You probably realise that if you've been on Owner, we're quite fluid, we're quite flexible, and things can change all the time. And we have a roadmap in play, but at the same time we're also flexible in the sense that we see something that comes to the fore, we could push that up and so forth. So we've made safety and digital privacy a big issue or a big concern for us, and we've pushed it up high on the roadmap. We'll talk about CRM as well, and some of these topics I've talked about last year as well. We'll talk about payments. We'll talk about benchmark reporting. We'll talk about programming and curriculum and posting on the app. We'll talk about the app and portal redesign. This is where we'll rely on you guys to help us out with that. We'll talk about Owner HR, and we'll talk about managed services as well. So a broad topic there. We're kind of a bit behind here at the moment, so I'm going to rush through some of these particular slides. It's supposed to be a 45-minute presentation, but I'll cut it down to about 30 minutes because we're slightly over time. But hopefully I don't go too fast. So Owner history and milestone. So we started the journey back in 2016. I won't go through the whole story of how we got started and so forth, but we started in 2016. We had no idea about childcare. So Fong, my business partner, and I, Fong, we had no idea about childcare, but somehow we got into building childcare management software. If you ask me, going back 10 odd years ago, I would still be here today building childcare software or software for early education. I'll probably laugh at you because I had no inkling that I would be involved in this industry. I worked on a whole bunch of different software, whether it's messaging apps, whether it's social networks and so forth. I never thought I'd be in childcare management software. But to be honest with you, and I've always said this, it's probably the most rewarding career for myself. It's also given me the the achievements that I've always wanted in my working career. It's provided that for me, and I love every single minute of it, and I still enjoy it every single day. So we started in 2016, no idea, but a couple of senators took us on board. Mary from Melbourne Road, Amy at Bright Beginnings and so forth. They somehow saw what we were building and thought, this is great, let's give it a try. And that's how we got started. We started in, I think it was about September of 2016. We pivoted to building childcare management software. I'll give you the story one day. I've got not too much time here, so we built a prototype, and within probably maybe about a month or so, we were kind of live. That's how quick we work. That's how quick we done things. That's how quick we work. We were able to get that prototype out and get these centres using it and so forth. And that's how we learnt a lot about childcare, early education, programming and posting, and EYLF and the SQL and all that. Sometimes along the way, luck plays a big part in it. If I were to go back to 2016, and if I were to, what I did initially was I went on the App Store, I typed up a couple of search words for childcare, and I found nothing. I thought, look, there's an empty void in the market. But to be truthful, if I searched the right terms, I would have found Explore, I would have found Kinderlab, I would have found Educar, I would have found Story Park, I would have found a bunch of others, and I would have said, no, this is not for me, there's too much competitors, I'm not going to go build the software. But that's where luck came in, because I had no idea about childcare, and that allowed me to jump in there, build something that was great, even with the limited time that we had, to be able to start building upon that. And then along the way, we learnt a lot. We learnt about programming, curriculum. I had no idea about that. We learnt about a seeker, we learnt about EYLF. There's a whole bunch of stuff that we had no idea about that we picked up along the way. We're kind of experts in the field now, but back then, we had no idea at all. But thank you to those that took us on board, especially at the start. They were able to help shape the software, and that was the main part for us. We weren't putting on customers at the start; we were putting on partners to help us build up what we have today. And that's the beauty of being able to start something brand new and having the right people on board to help us and guide us and so forth. I'll jump through quickly here. So 2016, first customer. By the end of 2018, we had about 50 centres come on board, and it was a struggle. That 50 centres was quite hard to get. A lot of centres didn't want to borrow of us. Never heard of OWNA. Who are you guys? How are you different and so forth? Even though we thought our software was quite great, it was hard to get the first 50 customers. Next 50 was a lot easier. By probably about mid 2018, we had about 100 customers, and we thought, hey, we probably get serious here. We probably have to do a bit more work behind the scenes, and that's where we moved to the cloud and so forth as well. The tighter security, better reliability, and so forth. 2020, so skipping through to 2020, obviously everyone knew what happened there with COVID. So COVID was a blessing in disguise for us, as bad it is especially for you guys. It was a blessing in disguise for us. That allowed us to, pretty much ramp up. Right. The reason being is we got CCS approval just before COVID came around. We had CCS approval, and what that meant was a lot of our centres that were using OWNA were able to come over to our CCS. Also at the same time, it also meant a lot of our centres that loved OWNA but never made the move because, again, transitioning could be quite hard and so forth. A lot of centres found that time when free childcare came into play allowed them to transition over to OWNA, and that's where we were able to rapidly grow the company. We put on, during that space, put about 400 odd centres, and that gave us to, that moved us to about 500 centres in 2020. It also allowed us to move into our first office as well. So prior to that, it was pretty much, we were doing work from home before work from home was cool. Every single day, in our pajamas or whatever, working on the platform. The only time we were out of pajamas was probably when we were visiting, centres like Mary here. First employee as well. So we hired our first employee during the whole COVID period as well, just the end of 2020. Prior to that, it was just myself, Fong, and my wife working on the software, working on customer service, working on support, working on sales, marketing, and so forth. So we hired our first employee, and we're at about 40 odd employees at the moment, but our first employee was during that 2020 period. Moved to our first office as well, again because of the rapid growth. Come 2021, we had to break our lease and move into a bigger office down here in Bella Vista. We also raised $1 million as well, and that helped us to accelerate our growth. And that allowed us to, pretty much build out the software, features, ideas that you guys have given us, be able to keep advancing the software itself. We also acquired Penelope, QIP, during that period as well. We haven't done too much on Penelope, to be honest here. We wanted to do a lot more, and that will come a bit later on, but we're still working behind the scenes there. 2,000 centres, somewhere between mid-2022 and 23. We rolled out accounts admin in 2023 as well, and that's where, again, we're not just a software company anymore, we're also a service company as well. So we tried to make your lives a lot easier, not just with software, but also services to help you. And one thing that we rolled out during that period is account admin. If you guys don't know what it is, we have a table up the back there that you can obviously have a chat to Jen and Jen and the team about account admin and how it all works and so forth. So pretty much, in a nutshell, we manage your accounts for you so that you don't have to invoice families, bill families, chase up payments, and so forth. Somewhere in 2023, we moved to our third office. We had to break another lease, and the reason being was, the team just got larger and larger. Okay, more customers, more support, more techies, and so forth. So we had to move to our third office. We're still there at the moment, touch wood. But that's and it's still down in Bella Vista. We also rolled out SSO as well. So again, security being a large part, we rolled out SSOs. For those that don't know, what that means is you're able to sign in, say, your Google account, your Microsoft account, and so forth. We also acquired a cloud accounting software called SASU as well. And the whole premise behind that is, if you haven't noticed, what we're trying to do is create an end-to-end solution, right? So I don't call it an app, it's a platform. It's a platform, an ecosystem whereby we're doing every single thing for early education. And accounting is a large part of it, and it's something that we want to do eventually roll into the owner side of things. So that again becomes I know you guys are probably using Xero or QuickBooks MYOB, but hopefully going forward we'll build a compelling case for you guys to perhaps look at the accounting side of things. I forgot to mention 2022 we held our first meetup. We skipped 2023, but 2024 we had our second owner meetup. Also in 2024 we rolled out Owner HQ. That's obviously for your large multi-centres and so forth. And again, it's ever improving. We also put on 3,000 centres at that point in time as well. In 2025, we've rolled out Owner HR. Again, this is keeping in team. We're trying to build out the whole ecosystem. What that means is, being able to manage your staff a lot easier across all your different services, do your payroll and whatnot. We also have a Owner HR breakout session as well afterwards. That if you guys are interested, feel free to have a look at that. We rolled out stuff like offline mode. We also ventured into the US as well in 2025. So we've got a full-time staff member there now, pushing out Owner in the US market as well as the Canadian market as well. Okay. I've got Buzz Lightyear down the bottom there. I like that saying, to infinity and beyond. That's pretty much my motto for Owner is, we've got big things planned, but we've got a lot more in the pipeline that we want to roll out. And for us, it's ever constantly evolving. It's never going to be a system whereby it doesn't change. If you look at something like Quick Kids, I know you guys, a lot of people here might use Quick Kids. It hasn't changed in a long time. What happens if you don't change? There's always going to be an upstart that comes along and eats into your business or eats into your particular, in this case here, software. We don't want that. We don't want that to happen to us. So we're forever changing for the better. All right. So I'm going to show you later on with a couple of screenshots. What you saw back in 2018 was great, but what you see now is a lot better than what you see in 2018. And I say that all the time. What we have now is great, but what we have in the future is going to be even better. All right. So that's the kind of the history and milestones of Owner. If you guys want, I'll go through a full story one day of how it all started and so forth. But in a nutshell, that's Owner from 2016 to where we are today. Owner by the numbers. Before we get on the roadmap, so over 4,000 services use Owner here, as well as internationally. When I say internationally, New Zealand, Asia, the US and Canada as well. So over 1.5 million parents, I think it's about 1.7 parents, educators, providers have used Owner. Over 275 children on the Owner platform at this point in time. Helping services, process close to $100 billion in childcare fees. I'll talk about payments in a second as well. And quick stats on our customers. Over 25% of services using Owner in Australia are rated exceeding. All right, so we've got about 150 odd people here in the office today. Sorry, in the office in the room today. So about 25% of you guys are probably exceeding. We save centers, we save services thousands of dollars per year. Okay, not in terms of time and resources and so forth. It's probably more than that, but that's our estimates is we're quite good in that regards there. I'll talk on the roadmap now. Obviously mindful of time here. Safety and digital privacy, right? So I won't go through what's happening lately and so forth, but obviously that's important. You see it in the news all the time, and that's quite important at the moment around safety and digital privacy. So we're looking at what measures that can we put onto the platform to make it a bit more secure and so forth. And you might have seen a few posts that we've done with stuff like locking screenshots and that kind of stuff. That's some of the preventions that we're putting in. And again, we know we're not going to stop every single thing that might happen, but what we can do is try to prevent certain things or make it a bit harder for certain things to happen. So I'll rattle off some of the features and stuff that we have in the pipeline. Staff accountability tools, right? So further logging and auditing, just like Stephen mentioned earlier. So if we log a lot more, if we audit a lot more, we can pick up on anomalies. For example, if a staff member happens to be saving a bunch of images and so forth, if we track that, we can at least show any anomalies and be able to present that to the director or approved provider to say, look, you might want to investigate this. Again, it could be harmless, but at the same time, it could warrant a further look. Screenshot prevention, I talked about earlier. So that's something that, again, we can't stop every single thing here, but at least hopefully we can make it a bit harder to do certain things. Restricted access, a good example is when a staff's on leave, so you put a staff member's requested leave, it's in the system as leave, let's just say it's next week, and they're away, they won't be able to launch the app, won't be able to look at certain things inside the app. Okay, so we'll look at trying to build those features into the platform. PIN and biometrics to reopen app, so a good example is just looking at your Face ID, for example, being able to open up the app using your Face ID. And also, when it goes into a sleep mode, for example, being able to bring it back online with say, your PIN or your biometrics and so forth. Just making it harder for another educator to pick up a device that's already logged in as another educator. Return to start PIN mode when device is inactive. So that's another feature that we're looking at here as well at the moment. So what that means is, for example, let's just say the device is lying around, it's logged in and so forth. If it's inactive, be able to redirect it back to a login screen. So that's the stuff that, again, makes it a bit more secure, so to speak. We're looking at stuff like integration with police checks and working with children's databases and so forth. You guys already know, especially with working with children, it's different in each different state. The blue card, I think it's in Canberra and so forth. It's a bit harder to have a centralised system. So we're working with partners at the moment to be able to help us integrate with these particular systems so that we can pull this data down in real time. Okay, so you guys can obviously do checks as you're onboarding new staff members and so forth. We're also exploring integration with security and surveillance vendors as well. All right, so again, early days, but we especially with what's happening now, we've had a lot of reach outs from security and surveillance companies who want to do a bit more with us, and we're excited about that as well because we do want to be able to help in this space as well. Again, not being able, we're not saying we're here to prevent all the stuff that's happening, but we can obviously use technology to kind of put barriers in place or help in that regards as well. Okay, so that's why it's a safety digital digital privacy is a important piece of the roadmap for this year. Right? CRM. I spoke about this last year, but what we want to be able to do with CRM is you guys might be using something like childcare CRM at the moment. We have a mini, what we call CRM Lite in our system at the moment. What we want to be able to do is build that out a lot more. And what does that mean? It means bringing you leads. Right? I can't talk too much about this at the moment because I've got something exciting to hopefully announce a bit later on. But bringing you leads, and what that means is, you guys don't have to go chase leads. Hopefully, be able to flow through to your email inbox. Parents inquiring about your services, rather than you having to worry about that. We want to have a look at stuff like telephony as well. What does that mean? It's a good example is parents calling up the service, for example, right, and be able to pop up on your screen exactly who's calling, who's calling, what the history is of that particular caller, whether it's a current parent or whether it's a prospective family that wanted to join the service. Logs it all as well, logs all your calls and so forth. Be able to report on these calls and so forth, not just from a current family situation, but from a prospective leads scenario as well. We want to do more around social media integration as well. So rather than you having to go off the platform, separate system to do your social media, be able to have it integrated on the owner platform. Integrated dashboard with your data from your socials, your advertising, and your and owner as well, all combined into that one space. All right, that's the idea from our CRM that we're looking to build out, in the next 12, 18 months or so. Payments. I mentioned that we processed close to $1 billion in payments. We have our partners here at the NAB today to talk about payments if you want to have a chat to them. But essentially what we did late last year is we changed the 3-day settlement to 2-day settlement. What that means is if you debited a family on a Monday, you receive the funds on a Thursday. All right, that's just generally the way the direct debit system works. But we've managed to be able to work with our partners to reduce that from 3 days to 2 days. So that's a great win for there. It means you get your money a lot quicker. what we want to be able to do is have real-time settlements, all right, or at least close to same day. So what that means is being able to debit a family today and get paid today as well. That's what we're trying to achieve for you guys. What that means, we know cash flow is quite important for any business, and the quicker you get that funds in your account, it's going to help your business a lot better going forward. So that's real-time settlements. We also offer looking to offer same-day, next-day settlements as well. No rejected payments or a super low fee in terms of rejected payments. At the moment, especially with the current system, it's a $2.50 charge, and we know obviously our other software providers charge a lot more. We don't, we don't charge more than that. What we want to be able to do is reduce that fee as much as we can. You guys can still charge your own fee on top of that, but from I guess from a vendor point of view, you won't have to cop that fee going forward. Looking at offering Apple, Google Pay as well. So especially with families doing one-off payments rather than punching in their credit cards. Apple Pay, Google Pay is quite, they're trusted and so forth. So we know that. So we'll be able to hopefully offer that for families as well. Right? Improve recoveries and payment plans as well. That's something that we have in the pipeline to be able to do, especially for families that owe you a lot of money. Be able to hopefully put on a better payment plan and automating a lot of that behind the scenes. Management and benchmark reporting. We have a lot of data. Obviously, have a lot of data. We probably don't utilise that data as well as we probably should, to be honest with you. But we want to start building in more management and benchmarking reporting. So what that means is we want to be able to see how your services stack up against others as well. All right. So in terms of your fees, in terms of your ratings, in terms of your overall, your overall business, how it's tracking compared to other services, whether it's around your area, whether it's around your different jurisdiction and so forth. Be able to offer that benchmark reporting. Get recommendations on improvements. Right, so you probably visit some software or some sites where it's giving you ideas and tips on how to do certain things. We want to be able to do that as well, right? Based on your data and so forth, how you're stacking up against others, be able to give you suggestions in terms of how you can improve going forward. Pretty much actionable items to ensure your service is operating as efficiently as possible. I've always stated when I started Owner is I want to make centres operate a lot more efficiently. Right? I'm not here to improve education, to be honest with you, because that's your job. Obviously we built the tools to help, but for me, it's about building efficiencies for your centre. Right? So if your centre is operating efficiently, when I say efficiently, it's operating, it's compliant, it's doing very well, it's profitable and so forth. That's how you're going to get better and better. And that's what we're able to do, is create actionable items to ensure your service is operating as efficiently as possible. Reports into your inbox, weekly and monthly. Management reporting straight into your inbox, so you can pull up these reports. If you want to drill into it more, then obviously you'll look at the dashboard. Programming and posts, using more AI around performing programming and planning. You probably heard of Mana. Mana does a lot of that stuff at the moment, and I'm sure Story Park will probably go down that path as well. And we'll do the same as well. We'll do the same as well, where we can, again, touchy topic with AI and so forth, but there's stuff that you can configure, turn on, turn off anyway. We'll make it so that you can, but being able to use AI to help with that regards there. Redesigning the process. How can it be improved? A few years ago, prior to COVID, I mentioned that we're trying to get a group of educators, educational leaders, and directors and so forth into our office to have a look at the programming piece. Obviously, COVID kind of blew that out of the water in terms of not being able to congregate together. So what we want to be able to do, hopefully, in the coming months, is put that out to you guys as well. That's where you got the QR code that appeared earlier. That's where we need your help. We want to have a look at how we can redesign it to make it even a lot better for you guys as educators on the floor every single day. And that means workshopping with the owner team. Right? So who's interested? If you are, we'll put up a mail out about this. And if you're interested in getting involved, let us know, and we'll be able to maybe be in this particular room where we can nut it out what you would like to see on that side of things going forward. Same with the app and portal as well. All right, so the portal hasn't changed since we started. The portal that you see today hasn't changed since we started. We obviously we've designed, we tweaked a few things over the years, but we're looking at doing a whole redesign of the portal going forward as well. And that's the same with the app as well. The app hasn't, it's only undergone one change during that period, and you'll see a screenshot a bit later on that I'll show. We're looking at redesigning that to make it a lot more easier for not just for educators but for families as well. There's a lot of stuff on OWNA, and you guys know that already. There's a lot of stuff there, and there will be more stuff going forward. So what we need to be able to do is try to make it simpler for educators, simpler for families, simpler for approved providers to be able to navigate around, find things. That's what we're, again, we'll lean on you guys to help with that as well. OWNA HR, all right, so more improvements to OWNA HR and more tight integration with OWNA. So what OWNA HR is, it's our HR system, payroll system, whereby we're collecting timesheets flow into payroll, pay your employees, generate pay runs, and do all your taxes and all that as well. In essence, OWNA HR allows you to manage your staff members a lot more simpler across all your different services. Right, so create your staff at the top level, propagate them down to individual service level. If you have multiple services, easily at the top level there. OWNA HR is in its infancy at the moment. So what that means is we've only started OWNA HR within the last 12-18 months. So it's still quite new. At the same time, it's quite advanced as well. But what we want to be able to do is get our centres using it and being able to partner with us to build it out to be even better. I talked about this earlier, whereby we had our partners at the start, helped us build out OWNA. We're looking for the same with the HR side of things as well. What are we missing? How can it be improved? That's the stuff that allows you to, especially if you get on now, be able to help shape the product going forward. And that's an important piece. It is, if you come on a bit later on, it's a bit harder to get things altered or changed to suit your service, but especially at the start, we're able to alter these things and make changes and so forth. We're managed services, so we're not just I've said it before, we're not just a software business, all right? So we're also a software and services business. So we try to make your lives a lot easier. We know, again, a lot of centres are time poor at the moment, staffing shortages still in play, so if we can help out with the services side of things, that's something that we can definitely look at, and that's where account services comes in. We're doing payroll services as well. We're trying to launch that in the very near future. Digital services as well, web, SEO, advertising, and more. That's something that we have on the roadmap. And lastly, down the bottom there, again, we're not just a software business, we're also a service business as well on top of that. Right? And we also have our partners over in Trendsite that does accounting and bookkeeping as well. So they partner with OWNA. They're a OWNA Gold partner, and what that means is they know their platform quite well. They understand it. They're great with the bookkeeping side of things, and accounting side of things with OWNA, and I guess accounting. Before I jump into the next screen, so that's a large part of the business going forward, right? Not just software, but also services as well. How can we help you guys process or do a lot of the more services going forward so that you guys don't have to? And what that means is more time for you guys to be able to do what's important at your service, whether it's programming, curriculum, planning, looking after children, planning your centre strategy going forward. I'm almost done here, but before I do that, I'll quickly show you some before and after photos there. So as you can see, the app itself, the middle picture there, that's how the main task screen used to look like. You guys probably, some of you guys might remember it. Some of you guys probably came on after that. So I thought that was great back then. Right? If I look back at it now, it's probably not so great. But that's what I'm getting at is, the platform itself was good back then. It's even better now. Give it 6-12 months, it's going to be even better than what it is today. And that's the stuff that I constantly, drilling into the team, is we need to make sure that we're always constantly innovating so that we keep ahead of the competition. If we're not, what happens is you'll get a little upstart, come around, have something brand new that's doing wonders, and it's going to eat into your business. So that's why we're constantly tweaking the platform, making it better, and based on your feedback. So this is work from home back in 2018. Right? So there's my wife, there's my son Lenny, and that's myself there. I think it's about 2018 or so. working on owner. I don't know what we're working on there, but I'm sure we're doing something. It's definitely hard working with I think it was 2.5 at that point in time there. So yeah, constantly needed attention, but we somehow managed to get things done. Testing station on the left there. I posted this up on Instagram back in 2018, but that was our testing station. So it was a Mac. I think about 10 devices there, as you can see. A lot more now, but you know, there was always the occasion whereby someone had some sort of a weird Android device that we didn't have, or didn't have there. I had a Galaxy and I had a Google Pixel, but then they'll have something like an Oppo or something, and you know, something was breaking and I couldn't work it out. But yeah, it's a lot easier these days, but that's how it was back in the day. That's owner all mapped out here in Australia. That's the, again, it's the pins look quite you know, dense up there, but that's owner across Australia at this point in time. Obviously, heavy on the east coast there. Obviously, try to grow on the west coast as well, but we're quite big on the east coast there. Our first conference in Randwick, that was back in 2017. Apparently, Sandy Phoenix, who's doing the keynote there, she said she met me there. I had no idea, to be honest. I think I didn't know anyone in the industry at that point in time, and I think it was just probably trying to survive that particular conference. But she goes, yeah, she met me there, and she loved the platform, and that was our first conference back in 2017, and that's, you know, we were at the US last year for their version of ECA. Which is about 5-10 times bigger than what it is here. So it was, I think about 10,000 delegates that attended that conference there in Anaheim. That's Fong, myself, and Luke with our American friends back in I think it was November last year or so. Same time as the US election there as well. Yeah, but it was strange. We thought it was going to be super busy and all that, but when we went there was probably I didn't see anything about the election. So I think we kind of overplayed it here in Australia. I think it's massive, but went there and I didn't see much of it anyway. Couple more screens here, so last 2 screens. Sydney Marathon. I'm running the Sydney Marathon this next Sunday. So if you're in Sydney next Sunday, hope you'll be able to see my owner singlet there. Got it made, and that's shipping out today. So I'll have that on the streets of Sydney next Sunday. And lastly, The Simpsons predicted a lot of things, like, you know, Trump, like Trump being president, Disney owning Fox and whatnot. And here is Bart with the owner app. Thank you everyone for being part of the owner journey. I'll leave off by saying to infinity and beyond.